Jules is for sure changing the intro when she takes over this.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a Marcus intro.
Happy
That's
Hour
not a
Podcast.
Jules interest, though.
Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast, episode 129.
Oh, welcome. Happy hour. Cheers.
Oh.
Today we are drinking Jules. You got a...
I got carbless from our friends in Plymouth area.
Yes, and speaking of Plymouth area, I was just with Sarah from Stonecrest, a wonderful customer and builder from us, and she brought me a bottle of the Plank Road Distillery single malt whiskey, also made in Plymouth, stored in maple syrup barrels. So it's got a unique flavor. And they do gin. She loves their gin as well as vodka.
Okay.
So go over there and see them in Plymouth. They also make a unique, like you kind of order a flight, but it's a flight of cocktails of theirs. So it could be gin or vodka or whiskey, and it changes on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So a little shout out to them at Plank Road Distillery there in Plymouth, and to Sarah at Stonecrest.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, we are here today to talk all things ERP. We have Jodi Garvey, our CTO, and Dan Taylor coming to us from Bistrack Epicor. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day after you've been in a conference room all morning and afternoon.
For 3 days.
Yeah, right? So we are 207 days out from launch. Who's keeping track? All of us, right?
162 working
days, right?
Yeah.
How are we feeling?
We're
Good?
pretty good. Yeah.
Doing good?
Yeah, we're making some good progress.
Good progress. Cool. Well, let's start with little intros. Jodi, obviously, a lot of team members know you, but for the newbies in the house or who might be tuning in, tell us a little about who you are. How long have you been with Drexel?
Jodi Garvey, CTO, been here 2 years,
Okay.
just over. Started as more of the software leader, and then when Nate became the fulfillment leader, I became the CTO.
Which means...
Which means that I'm responsible for this
What's the name?
project.
What's the CTO mean?
Mm.
Chief Technology
Yes.
Officer.
Absolutely.
AKA nerd leader, right? The nerd
leader,
building.
yes.
There you go.
Leader of the nerds.
Yes. And Dan,
Absolutely.
tell us about your journey coming to Epicor.
No problem. So my name is Dan Taylor. I live in the California Bay Area, San Francisco specifically. I've been doing IT for about 30 plus years and had an opportunity to work at a lumberyard for some time, which I got introduced to Epicor and Bistrack at that time.
Wow.
And after my tenure there, I left and was exploring some different things, and Epicor decided, hey, would you like to give this a shot, hit the road, and start consulting for us? And decided I'd do that, and that led me to Drexel. And now I'm here helping you guys do your thing.
How many people have you set up?
So far, it's been about 10 customers.
And what's the average size?
It varies. I've had anything from, I'd say average about 75 users.
Are we the largest?
For me, you guys are one of my larger ones, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
Campbellsport, obviously your favorite place to travel.
It is my favorite place to travel at this point. 100%.
Says everyone ever.
Coming from California.
This week is my favorite place to travel.
Yeah, and hey, we gave you a little touch of summer, a little better weather too.
Absolutely. No, last time I was here, it was really shocking to see how much of the town you guys actually own.
We call it the Drexel campus.
I'm going to kind of hijack this for a hot second.
Go for it, Joel.
Right before we came on,
Yeah.
and we are probably the most transparent company you're ever going to run into, we said, hey, let's not launch this to our builders yet so we don't scare them.
Yeah.
We're going to launch this to our builders to scare them. We'll not scare them. To give them the whys and the reasoning, okay? Dan's laughing a lot, so is Jodi. If you're
Giddy up.
listening, they're like, what? But to talk about that, the reason we're doing it is not because we're corporate, not because we're bigger, not because we're bored. It is to we have 3 Drexel commitments. One is our people and talent. And to really encourage the people that work here and their passion and their talents and make them better and develop them. This software is going to do that. Our software is archaic. I brought this software that we have in 1990 something.
Wow.
And it's been legacy, and it's a DOS-based program. And I walk by people's desk, and they're using 4 or 5 pieces of software to execute one order. Builders, that's going to help you. We make mistakes because we're looking at 5 pieces of software. Our second thing is we exist to support the local builders, which means what? To find the best products, have the best services, but drive their price lower. This will lower the builder's price. Your statements are going to look a little different. Your quotes might look a little different, hopefully for the better. Don't let that scare you, and that's going to be in November. But it's a good thing. It's going to drive the price down. We're going to need less people to do these jobs. And that doesn't mean we're going to be unemploying these people. As we grow, we won't either replace them or hire new ones, I should say, replace them to grow those departments. So it's a really, really huge, huge thing. And then our third thing is to maximize profits, to reinvest in our company, and to do Jesus' work here on earth. we will do that as well. So it hits all three commitments. This, what is called an ERP, which stands for
Enterprise Resource
Planning.
Yeah.
Right, that's called the ERP system. It eliminates a lot of the softwares, consolidates into one. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful tool within our company. It's a crazy mission. It's a crazy thing. If Jodi wasn't here, honestly, I know we would not even be looking into this, but it is decades needed, and it was just something that I hadn't focused on. So kudos to both of you for bringing this to us. So
For sure.
it's definitely going to be launched to the public, and I'm excited about it. And please don't be nervous about it. So we're going to do months and months of training before we lead up to this. Whatever happens in the kitchen cannot hit the dining room. And for all of you builders listening in, our job is to hit the dining room.
Right.
It just can't hit
The
the
diners
dining
should
room
not
floor.
experience it, right?
Yeah.
They should not feel it. They should feel it from a positive side.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad you shared that history of kind of like where we started, 1990 with the software, and now here we are. And Jodi,
By paper. When I got here, we were still doing paper ledgers. Then we had Triad. Then we had Spruce.
thank you.
I am a million years old.
It gives us that sense of appreciation, right? And Jodi, this is even for Dan, right? This is a huge undertaking. We played a little dating ERP game for a while, right? What was some of those deciding factors for our team to move this direction, to work with Dan and his team, kind of those features that really stood out to us?
Yeah, I would definitely say, well, thank God we have Dan. He is the best implementer.
Wow.
So great. But there's a lot of features that Bistrack had versus the competitors that were relevant to lumber.
Right.
So one of the really cool things is the whole call-off orders, how the QBs and our salespeople are going to type up one thing, and then we're just going to call off when we need it delivered.
Yep.
So now they want to go look in one spot. They don't have to pull up 5, 10, 20 orders to be like, where is this one?
Also for our builder, delaying delivery
Yes.
time. Delivery time is not just the wheels on the ground.
Correct.
For you builders listening, sometimes your deliveries and orders are delayed because we're procuring this order,
Yeah.
which is insane, but it literally is procuring it. It's like you're making it out of ingredients.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's going to be a game changer in that to the builder. Jodi, could you give us a little background, and maybe stealing your thunder
Go
here,
for it.
Jules? Where did you come from? What street cred do you have? Who are you to even bring in new software? Dan, how many users are we looking at here?
We're looking at 170, 180?
Well, probably 400 when we have everyone all
Understood.
set in.
So half of our 800
half of our
people
800
Yes.
people
will touch
using
it daily.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
how dare you, Jodi, right? Touch our sacred cow of Spruce. So, give us a little
Great.
background who you are and how this came about.
Sure. So who
Sorry
I
if was
am.
doing
No, you're good.
She's crossing off a question, so
go.
she had that as a
I
question.
started as a COBOL programmer, so I am aging myself as well for those people that know what a mainframe
My
and
father was
COBOL
a COBOL
programming is.
programmer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
are you saying I'm old enough to be your mother?
No, I didn't say that.
no.
Not at all.
And in the finance side of the house, so more at was M&I Data Services, then Metavante, then FIS, and then I left there to go to Kohl's IT, and at Kohl's IT, that's where I came into more of a leadership role. I was no longer doing the behind the scenes stuff, and got really tired of driving to Milwaukee all the time. So after 5 years, left, went to Mercury Marine. And at Mercury Marine, then is where I really feel like I have more street cred.
Yeah.
Because I was responsible for a lot more. I was responsible for all of the production there. I was responsible for all of the support. I had an offshore team of 200 people that I was responsible for. But I was also working a lot. And then,
Not a lot of balance, eh?
yes, not a lot of... And actually, it's really funny because Joel and his wife Pam get the credit for me coming here if this all goes well, because I was supposed to personal train with her and I had to cancel because I was working. And she's like, you got to get out of there. Why don't you work at Drexel? And I was like, I don't know if Drexel has a need. And then all of a sudden I looked, I'm like, oh, they're
There is
looking
a
for,
need.
Yeah.
they were
There's
looking
always a
for
need
at the
for good
time somebody that could do integrations.
Okay.
Okay.
So I applied and told Nate right away, I'm like, I don't know if I can do exactly what you want, but I will learn whatever you need. I would love to work here.
There you go.
And then,
I think it's a good choice.
You're willing, you're eager, and all in God's timing.
yes.
Just
There you
for-
So I've done, though, other integrations. We've done upgrades. I've been responsible for other big projects.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that all of that with leadership skills can help us bring this home
Not
very
hoping.
successfully.
It's going to be. She's being humble.
She's
and
being
very
humble.
confident. It's going to work. There's not a. This isn't like we hope it's going to work. I'm very confident. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have the
No,
right
you're
team
right.
for it. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
I-
experienced.
My team is amazing. The team of people that are on IT here are so good. It's more myself, like making sure I don't forget anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
We got you.
Yeah. And we have this mindset, this saying, or Drexelism, be athletic, right? And in your leadership role and this big project, like how do you lean into that with your team and help them through that?
I think, we have to keep having fun and laughing. Like a lot of times we just get too into like our own, we're IT nerds. One of the guys actually sits in the basement because that's where he likes to be.
That's where he's comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same
Shout out to
Eric.
Hi, Eric.
CPU.
But it's just, you have to, I love our building. Like we have our own little nerd shack and you will, when somebody has an issue, everyone talks about it. We figure it out together. We are very much, Brian came into my office this morning. He's like, so how do you think it's going so far? Like be honest. And I said, this is going to be great. Yeah. This is going to be amazing. And he's like, you're just being optimistic, aren't you? I'm like, you can be the pessimist. I will be the optimist.
We all have our roles.
We need to make sure we stay optimistic on this. And I tell Dan and Lori as the project manager on this all the time. I'm like, you got to understand, our team, this is it. This is our project. We are dedicating all our time to this. So if we're asking questions and getting the cart in front of the horse, it's because we are just excited and ready and the smartest group of people that we have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. You're bringing up some very good points as far as you need people that are focused continually to do anything successfully, right?
Yes.
And we would all be lying to ourselves if we were like, this is easy. It's not going to be easy, but it wouldn't be worth doing if it was easy, right? The challenge is the part that will make us prideful about this and understand why we are doing this. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a different level of ownership, right? With this product, with our relationship to our vendors, you guys, as customers, everybody. So I think it's going to be an all-around win.
Yeah. And have you ever worked with a company that named their implementation Project MEGA?
No, I've never worked with a company that did that. I've also never worked with a company that puts the owner's name on the front door.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Make ERP great again.
There we go.
Going back to like your leadership too, Jodi, and bringing the team along with us on this journey. Like, yes, your team is owning this project, but like you gave us all an opportunity to have a say and name this and make it fun, which was great. Like it was a great process. We do a lot of polling to our team members and say, hey, what do you think?
Right.
What's your idea?
Yeah.
So, how do you guys see that at Epicor too? I know I looked on your website, flexible, agile, those are words that you use too.
Absolutely.
How does that work for you, your own development, your training, how you support your customers?
Well, it's been definitely an adventure. I've come from a background in IT for a long time, and that's focused at places like Drexel, specific companies doing certain roles. Blossoming out into a company like Epicor has given me the opportunity to travel to places like Campbellsport, my favorite place to go, to different places that I probably never would have seen in my life. And the one thing that I've definitely acquired in my tenure, whether it was in IT or doing this consulting piece, is the ability to be flexible and agile, right?
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a chameleon in a lot of ways because it just depends. I can be super fun, laughy, jokey, I can be extremely serious, but it just depends on the environment that we're in, and the best thing to do is to really understand your audience, just like you were talking about with your builders.
Yes,
right?
I love
Understanding your audience and being able to connect with them so that you don't make them out of place, you don't feel out of place, it all becomes a very comfortable thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I have definitely noticed across the board when we're talking about working in situations is that we spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our families, right? So this becomes sometimes we might not think of it that way, but it becomes almost our primary family to a certain degree. So the ability to have your staff take this on with the gumption, with the excitement behind it, that's what we need. And you guys are really a model customer for that. And I definitely appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I looked at the industries you serve too, your automotive, manufacturing, all of that. What challenges, I guess, have you seen like with the building industry, building supply in general?
Well, the biggest challenge that I think we see in the building supply industry is, and please nobody take offense to this out here in the world anyway, is every lumber company or building material supply company I've worked for says, well, we do this the standard way. There is no standard way. Every company has their standard way, which is totally fine, which is one of the reasons our software has to be as agile as it is.
Yeah, well, and I think our industry, and I've mentioned that before, has always lacked a dominant leader.
Okay.
Right, so there was no Henry Ford. There's been no Amazon. There's been no market leader for us as an industry for 200 years.
Yeah.
It's fiercely independent,
Yeah.
family-owned companies that then were bought up by financial fiduciaries that didn't change anything.
Exactly.
So we haven't had a dominant force, right? I mean, the branches off were big box stores, which are not like builder stores at all. Like them are apples and oranges. That might as well be two different industries.
100%.
And they took they did a different thing, and they took a tremendous amount of market share from the building supply industry. But pro side, it is so fragmented and so diverse. They're just, and I actually struggle with that. And it's frustrating at times. I can't simply go to what did they do?
Right.
What did Ford do? What did Henry Ford come
Exactly.
up with? There's been no Elon, no Ford, no anything.
In
To be
this side of the house,
yeah,
in this
and that
industry.
side of our industry of like, just do what they do, like, and then we'll make it into our own.
Right.
There is nothing you can Google
Yes.
to say standard. Here's your margins. This is what the success story is. Here's a business plan that works so well.
Exactly.
Tweak it into your own. It doesn't exist. You know, a car wash. Pretty easy to just mimic a Tommy's at this point. Like, boom, boom, boom. It's not Tommy's, but it's sort of Tommy's. Boom, 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 bang. Find that business model and go.
Right.
It doesn't exist in our industry.
And that's one thing I could say about the software company.
Which is what struggles with software because they can't mimic things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make it repeatable if there is no repeating? You know,
Yes.
you don't really know
Yes.
what you're supposed to repeat.
Yeah,
right?
once you're in the weeds, it really is the same crap.
Exactly.
But everybody acts like it's not. It's
So that's
insane.
the thing with the customers that I have. I would say everybody sells their building material supplies. They all have that common goal, right? They want to serve their communities, right? They want to do the right thing by their builders and their customers. That's the shared thing. The standard is that passion for their customers. That's what I see, right? The differences are how they decide to do that for those individual customers.
Yeah, it's there's no. I've been to so many national conferences, and it's just like everyone's way is their way, and everyone's got a sacred cows, and it's really tough.
Yeah.
Okay, move forward, Jules.
So
Get me out of this. Get me off this pod.
November 17th, that's our launch date, right?
You got to get like a buzzer for me. Let me go.
Tangent.
Wrap it up music, wrap it up
That was all relevant. All
Flick in my
relevant. So November 17th, that's our date, right?
Yep.
Through this process so far, your visits here, any surprises, things that have come up along the way that
Shout out to Brian Wolf.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
The Wolfman.
What I found here is, I mean, again, I have preconceived notions, everybody does, about different places where you're going to go, right? So I've never been to Campbellsport before, so I don't know.
Have you been to Wisconsin before?
I've been to Wisconsin because I'm a concert goer, right?
Oh.
So I've been to Detroit a lot.
Oh, you
Okay.
have?
Absolutely.
Favorite band there?
Pearl Jam.
Really? No kidding.
I have a
You
hat
still
behind
follow
me.
Eddie Vedder?
I still follow Eddie Vedder.
So
absolutely.
in the 90s, if you would have said, right, legacy guy, the Beatles, I always thought it was going to be Eddie Vedder.
Got it.
I feel he like fell off the rails. Like I can't. Vitology, like, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, we got weird. Like we got ukulele stuff
Things
going
got
on.
strange. Things got strange for sure from 10 after 10 and certain albums.
Yeah.
But
I thought they were the Beatles. I'm like this is like tattooed on my arm. Like me and Eddie Vedder are gonna roll till death here, like Paul McCartney.
Right.
And then he just kind of like, or not.
Yeah, or not, or maybe not. Yeah. Wait, are you saying you knew Eddie Vedder?
No. I felt like I did. I felt like we were soul brothers for the mid-90s.
There you go.
Like, for a hot moment, I felt like we were soul
like we were the
brothers.
same people.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
No, and what I will say about that band, just for me to go off subject on that, but that band has been very entertaining, obviously, but they've been very consistent in their way of how they deal with fans. I would actually compare that to the way that Drexel deals with their customers, right? They have built a base of people that are dedicated to them, like myself, that will keep coming back, that will travel the world if they have to go see that band.
Yeah,
just like
they made
I'm
it
sure-
intimate.
Yeah, exactly.
Somehow they made it one-on-one intimate.
Exactly.
Personalized,
Even
yeah.
though
And
there's
somehow they lost me.
well, you had to deal with your builders and you had to take care of your customers, right?
I
Your
moved on to
focus
Zach
shifted.
Bryan or something.
Yeah.
maybe Eddie didn't change you, maybe I changed.
Yeah.
Right? That's probably what
Yeah.
Eddie would
It's
say.
possible.
Yeah.
But no, I did, as a big fan, there was this album that came out that I literally have at home, and I've had it since it came out. I've never opened it because I do not appreciate that album.
Okay.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
But it's still there, and I bought the albums after, the different ones. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Cool. Jodi, any surprises for you so far?
I will say not really surprised
Sure.
because I was part of
Planning.
this, so I knew what
Yeah,
was coming.
sure.
But like watching when we were doing this core user training, like Justin Spuda at one point was like, "Yes."
Right?
Well,
You
there's
know-
nuggets that I can share.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. Did I
Yeah,
say
no,
that?
go.
Jodi shared, hey, she thinks the workload of a salesman will come down 25%.
Agreed.
Yes, and
And again, you talk about the local builders listening, please have no fear. Like, this is a huge positive thing.
Absolutely.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And everyone comes out pretty excited. And again, to me, I relate it to about looking for a new vehicle. I love my vehicles. I'm not a vehicle person at all, so it's hard to relate. But I get very comfortable in my vehicles, even though I don't have this like weird personal attachment that some people do. But the second I start looking for a new vehicle, I hate my old vevehicle.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this stupid thing
All
doesn't have
the
freaking
things that are wrong
Bluetooth
with
and the back door, the trunk never ever. There's not enough room in the back seat, and this color sucks. Oh my gosh, 5 of the neighbors have the same vehicle.
Right.
It's so dumb.
yes.
So I feel like we're all going through that right now with
Yeah.
Spruce and Monday and a lot of other woodware and so many other softwares we use, where it's like, this is junk. And you're like, so for me, I'm the hyper awareness of this. Full autonomy. I'm not sure Dan knows that. Maybe he's heard that, which is, I know, crazy as a CEO. I have not logged into our software. I do not know where my password, and I haven't been in our software in, I'd say, 2+ years.
Honestly, sometimes that's the way it should be.
Well, the CEO's,
That's not a bad thing.
the CEO, I mean, at this point, it's like, I mean, I'm supposed to be, whatever that means, right? I mean, I'm the visionary of the company, and I lead things differently, and the second that I dive into Spruce, I'm working on things I'm working in the engine, and I should not be working in the engine.
Exactly.
And we have amazing people that work on the engine, and then I start leading towards what I find and uncover, and I spend my time there,
Yes.
and it's not warranted.
But you hire staff that you trust to do that for you. And the important part, what you just said about you not logging in the software, you don't log in for maybe several reasons, but one of them is because you don't
So I can't
really
remember my
have
password is the main
to.
reason.
So that's part of it. But the other part is you don't really have to, right? Because you have trustworthy individuals on your staff that take care of this. Now, if you had to be in there all the time, that might be something questionable about how things are running.
Oh yeah, if I'm leading this ERP
Yes.
charge, well, we wouldn't be the company that we are.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And it's not because I hired the right people; they're just amazing people on our team. So I can spend my resources to help again our commitments, our
To the
team, our
customers.
builders, and maximize the profits. And it really is the the order matters. Help our people, help our customers,
Right.
and put something to the bottom line so we can help do Jesus' work here on earth. So
Understood.
I'm thankful to do that.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job.
Amen
So
to
keep
that.
me out of the user,
Yes.
keep me out of the user group training. My word, I already rolled out two.
Same.
I rolled out 2 softwares in my life. That's enough.
When you appeared today, I was like, did Joel want to sit in on this?
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
all like, no.
I have to tell
Do we
a
miss an
quick. Can I
invite?
tell a quick
Yes.
history lesson?
For sure.
So the first time we ever had computer software, we didn't have. I didn't know what SKUs were, right?
Okay.
Like we just wrote everything by hand. So we hired this company called Triad, and of course, just like any ERP system, the salesman sold us on everything, and then a guy like Dan, I forget their name, and they were right out of Milwaukee. He showed up, so he just actually commuted. He loved it. He's like, I could actually commute
Right.
from his house, and he showed up, and he's like, well, tomorrow we're going to put in the SKUs.
Okay.
And at that point, it was a 3-ring binder of paper, right? Of just like you had to look it up on
Right.
paper.
Flip through everything.
Yeah,
right?
flip through
Yeah.
everything and then find where that was. And after a few weeks, there was tabs, and one was lumber, and one was siding.
Right.
So he's like, well, tomorrow I need SKUs because we're going to start loading them. And I'm like, what do you mean SKUs? Like, what do you need? He's like, well, like the short name for all this stuff. So that night I went home, and logically I'm like, less is more, simple is better. And I just came up with the SKUs. So I would say 75% of the SKUs we have, the core SKUs, maybe 85% was from that one night.
Wow.
And I did it as fast as I could because I wanted to go to bed, obviously. So they're always like, why do you know all the SKUs? I'm like, well, I invented them. And they're, to me, they're logical. But AC12, OSB 716 all came like out of my brain like in like 6 seconds.
But you did it with formula, and it started to make sense, and it's how you were able to
Felt
do that
15.
one night.
Yeah,
right?
we still have those exact SKUs.
Yeah, they might
Which
be
to me-
changing.
Thank
It might
goodness.
work.
After a million years of me working on them for a half a second, someone is actually waking up saying, change the SKU. So I always told people, like, if you
It's
change the
time.
SKU, it's no big deal. I probably thought about it for 0.001 seconds. Like, it's probably the stupidest SKU in the world. But they've stuck, so that's my legacy into the software.
I will say this, though, even if those SKUs came from 20 years ago or however long they came from, we can keep those SKUs. Even if we decide to change them, we're going to keep your legacy, and then we're going to put it in the background so we can still find them that way.
Yep.
Well, for
Just
all-
in case you
so-
decide to log in your
So a
software.
little teaser for all you users, not everything's changing overnight. So
Yeah.
that's a little software teaser there.
There you
That
go.
was nice. Way to weave it in, Dan. Well done.
Yes,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely.
Smiling.
I love
it.
that.
Okay, cool.
Well, and Jodi, you said you've been part of a lot of different implementations here and before, right? Like, do you have any advice for maybe maybe one like leader at another, somewhere out there that's considering an implementation or a change, anything that you would tell them before they get started, and or even like our team members who might be a little resistant and be like,
Yeah,
like,
I really think that communication is everything, so I'm really glad we're doing this.
Yes.
We were really waiting till after this week where we kind of got to see everything before we really started pushing people and giving more nuggets, as you call them, of what's
this
going
is like
to happen.
magic sauce. I can tell you, like, this is working.
is.
Isn't it
Well, I
vibing?
hope so. I hope so.
Oh,
Yes.
she didn't say I hope so.
I know, I gotta
Is that
stop
your
that.
personality, or is that just this project?
No, I don't know. Maybe a
You
little bit
seem
of
more
both.
confident than that. You allude to more confidence than that, but a couple times during this
I know.
conversation,
Maybe
I
it's just
hope,
the
maybes.
maybe it's this headset on.
Yeah.
Wondering how
Think
my
about
hair looks under here.
your group exercise headset, and you're like,
Girlfriend,
this
have
is
no
working.
fear. Have no
I
fear.
am
There's-
super excited,
Yeah.
and I think everyone on our team is just going to have to, Project One, they're going to have to be
Yes.
uncomfortable
Yes.
with the change.
Mhm.
Dan said it today. He's like, people are going to be like, I'm used to pressing blah, blah, blah. Now it's going to do this and this.
Right.
It's going to be less clicks.
Right.
It's going to be more intuitive. It's going to make your life easier, but yes, it is going to be hard.
Let's even go further, because this is like going to launch. This is going to launch on Monday of next week. So here's even a bigger, weirder teaser. That again, something I wasn't supposed to talk about. We're going to launch Project Breathe next week instead of Project One. We kind of have a different mantra every 90 days, which we should even formalize. So every quarter is kind of a new mantra. It's how my brain works. Maybe it's how our business works. So we're coming up with Project Breathe for the next quarter or two, which really means breathe.
Relax.
We expect our volume to go up double, potentially invoicing out around $2 million a day for the next 90 days. A large spike in our volume. We want to make sure we're right for the builder and do things good. So we're really going to go, and again, don't let the pendulum swing too far. Joel said we shouldn't change anything, just nothing, status quo. That's not what I'm saying. But we're going to launch Project Breathe, which is really, hey, let's just breathe, focus, and not try to change the world in every department for the next, until about February. And then really in February, we want to have strategic meetings. We use parking lot projects, review parking lot projects in a strategic way and saying, okay, your department hasn't done a lot in 6-7 months. Now what do you want to do after you digest it for 7 months? So we'll keep changing and flexing, but in a much more thought out way. One little SKU, 2 little SKU changes in the merchant world, 2 little item options, there's a domino effect.
Yeah.
If it's in Jackson, it affects woodware, it affects our movement into the fulfillment center, and it affects Spruce, and it affects the training. Let's just not. If we can get away with it, again, if it's something that we need to do. And there was a guy from Chile today in our merchant room. He flew in from Chile, so that was interesting. I think the girls actually thought he was going to be a good-looking Latino, so they were pretty excited. He wasn't. Sorry to that guy. I said, I see what you girls are doing because I've never seen you jump out for a rep before. We were trying to check out this guy from Chile
Gotta make
for
that
sure.
meeting.
And Danny's like, busted, so noted. Other girls denied it. I'm like, you're liars. So anyways, right, so if we can make a change out from different manufacturers and vendors and change things and make things for the better, great. But on an overall business sense, it's going to be Project Breathe, at least for the next 90 days as we breathe into this summer.
There you go.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
awesome.
a great focus point. I read this somewhere too, where like the breath is the one thing that comes with you no matter what
Where
you're
you're
doing,
at,
right?
what you're
Any
doing, yeah.
experience, human experience you go through, whether you're scared, you're sad, you're happy, your breath changes with you.
Yes.
So I think to have that awareness of like, let's take a breath.
Right.
Just
I tell people when they're stressed out all the time, breathe.
Yes, breathe. Right.
Man, if you can just focus on your breathing, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that part of the soul that it touches, but it goes beyond your body for sure.
That's why they tell you to take those deep breaths to relax, right? That's the whole
It's
thing.
a real
you know?
thing.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Cool. Dan, how
Or just
about
have a little bit of the smooth plank road
That's
distillery.
it. It's
that'll
very
help.
smooth.
That will help
Absolutely.
for sure.
Man, it is smooth. You know what? If you're not a bourbon drinker, put it on ice, add a little seltzer, and then don't do what I do and don't sip it the first second. Let that ice melt a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like candy.
Oh, it's
Right?
very nice.
But like that first sip, if you don't let the ice melt, it's like,
Yeah.
hot.
No.
yeah, it's a little hot coming down. But man, once that ice
But
melts
not
a
in a
little
bad
bit,
way. It's just,
No.
It's supposed. It's got a very good profile.
like
for
put a
sure.
little
Right?
Pearl Jam on in the background.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Just Breathe is a song that Pearl Jam sings.
I
Yes,
love
me
Just
too. That's
Breathe.
one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs.
It's a top
awesome.
10 song of my life. It's Just
100%.
Breathe. He
Absolutely.
killed that song.
Oh,
It's a
that is a
wonderful
great
song.
Let's go into the
song.
show notes, people. You can listen to it after you listen to this podcast.
That could be a
so
come out
good.
song.
Right?
Oh, it should be for the next 90
Kill that
days.
cheesy
Yes.
It
Marcus.
could be your- yeah.
rhythm
Noted.
dramatic.
Noted right there.
There you go. You're welcome, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Dan, I just wanted to mention
He's
that.
intimate friends with Eddie, so don't tell him we're using
Oh, yeah.
No copyright infringements, Eddie.
Right.
We're good, bro. Don't hook us up.
I actually do have
Thank you
pictures
for
with
the
Eddie, so I
appreciate
can tell
it.
him.
Yeah, so you're signing off on the copyright infringements. We get it. We got you.
Yes, for sure. I just wanted to point out this. Every day is easier with Epicor. I love that. We talk a lot about efficiency here and, you know, both the builder's experience and our team members' experience, how we can, like, ease and bring, like, just make it easier.
It's a very stressful industry.
Yeah.
Or known to be, which, again, I don't know why. We're just building houses. It should be really fun. But we make it really stressful. So I love the concept.
Yeah.
If every house was
it's
exactly the
mindset.
same, it would be easier, right? But the thing is, everybody has their own concepts on how these houses are going to be.
Especially when half of your team is in manufacturing.
Agreed.
And
Yep.
the profitability in manufacturing is repeatability, and we don't repeat anything
Exactly.
on any order.
If you can do the Henry Ford thing, right, then you'd be able to repeat this. But in
Yeah.
those cases, you can't, right?
It's not China or Russia. People are
understood.
independent freedom here in Wisconsin. We like our custom homes,
Yeah.
which is excellent.
Absolutely.
But if people could start repeating houses, that would be wonderful.
Or
Just
the
not mine.
parameters,
Just
right?
not mine.
Right, understood.
Other people's houses.
For sure. Anything else you want to ask, Joel, or anything else you guys want
We
to
could
share?
go on forever.
I
This is
know,
your
we
pod.
could.
If
We
I can
could.
touch
That,
on the-
you know, you're better than that. But, okay, Dan,
the
what's up?
everyday is easier thing, right? So I
Yeah.
think maybe I'm preempting this, but I think you were going to ask, well, what does Epicor do to
Yes.
make every day easier?
Yes.
I was
So
hoping
one
you
of,
would
the,
ask.
one of the challenges
Exactly.
that we find our customers face a lot is that hunting and pecking for information. Yesterday we did something. How do we track down what was done yesterday? How do we know what we need to do tomorrow? That type of stuff. So how does Epicor make every day easier? We want to put that information in front of you every single day. You walk in, you log into your software, you see the information that is pertinent to you, you see the information that's pertinent to you, and all of your staff can see the information that's pertinent to them. So there's no questions and there's no hunting and pecking. And when we're following the actual steps of the process, right, that's where the efficiency begins. Because then it's everything trickles to the next thing. There is far fewer questions about what do I need to do today, or how do I start that process, or where do I go to even begin.
That's part of the problem now, and why I don't log in is like you're mining data.
100%.
I'm not coming in with my cup of coffee at 6
To mine
a.m.,
data.
6:30, at 7 a.m. and just like, okay, let's mine data and get some nugget out of it at 9 a.m. I want good information at me promptly and efficiency and make my day easier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And that's our
Goals.
hope.
That is pretty easy. I'm having bourbon at
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Those questions that any one of you may have when you walk in and say, okay, well, what does my day look like? That's one of the things we do with like our dashboards, for
Right.
instance.
Yes.
Right? We have a dashboard that will tell you, oh, according to your role, here's exactly what you need to do. So you can come in and get all those business statistics.
Right.
I'm guaranteeing you're going to log into Bistrack, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see some very important statistical data.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would love that. I just don't get into that now because again, it's
Yeah.
a
It's
DOS-based COBOL
100%.
program.
Getting it out is getting the
Cobalt's my
information
favorite
out
thing
is
that
more
happened on the
difficult
package.
than it is than it's worth. I
Yes.
would say.
I think
right?
the whiskey said you need that.
Yeah. Okay. I can do that.
There
Should
we
we
go.
get to our
I'm driving to Green Bay to the draft. By the way, tonight's the draft. If you're
Shout
watching this
out.
at a different
Green
time.
Bay.
Okay.
You're going?
No, after the whiskey,
Oh.
I'm going to just start driving with Dan. Yeah, we're going to the moon.
Maybe you were
Taking you
going.
too long as well. I think you should already be there. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
already people. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's
getting
2:45.
Yeah.
There's people already hammered up.
Oh yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got-
that would have been me.
Yeah.
Both of my sons are going. So
Are they?
talk about FOMO. Yeah,
Oh,
my
yeah.
21-year-old son who's got a friend at St. Norbert's. He's probably
okay.
raging right now.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
15-year-old son tonight's going. Hopefully
sure.
not. Then
Not
hopefully they're,
raging?
hopefully they're not
Yeah.
running into each other.
Good call.
Well, Dan,
And I'm glad I'm home to not see either one of them.
Right,
Yeah.
understood.
I do not need to see 500,000 people in a 90,000 person town.
There we
no,
go.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep,
Good
yep.
with that. So Dan, I think you've been preempted about our famous Billboard
Yeah.
question.
Well, we should hit Jodi up too, though.
Oh, yeah.
She can
Oh,
get
yeah,
off- she
yeah.
can get off free,
Do you want to go first, ladies
No.
first?
Well,
Okay.
Ladies
Well,
first.
explain
I
the
insist.
question.
Yes. Okay. So Billboard, you decide. It could be a picture. It could be words. Doesn't even matter. You
Who's
pick
going
how
first?
many words.
Am I going first?
I can go first.
Go.
Oh,
if you want.
Jodi's up.
Jodi, you've
She's
been
ready.
on before.
No, this
You
is my
haven't,
first
the
time.
first
Not,
I know she
yeah.
has
First
that.
time.
So yeah,
Oh, big
anybody
deal.
can see it.
Okay,
What's
so
your
my
message?
billboard for sure.
I'm very, I'm always intrigued by everybody's.
Yes.
I've known Jodi, we're cousins. I've known her almost my whole life, or basically my whole life. Her grandma and my grandma were sisters. So
Okay.
you didn't know
Did
that
not
either?
know
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
No.
my grandma and my grandma
Very
were sisters,
cool.
so I'm uniquely intrigued by Jodi's.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So you didn't know your family?
I know.
There you go.
I do not. Learn
So I will say my billboard for sure has a rainbow on it, just
Oh,
because
yes.
for me,
Mhm.
I love rainbows. I
Okay.
just think they always make me smile. They always make me
Right.
happy. They always
How can they
remind.
If you can see her necklace, she's got a rainbow necklace.
Yeah, I
on.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Are colorful. Yes.
Yes.
I would. Yes, thank you. I would say because there's always a rainbow after a storm.
There you go.
So no matter how bad it is.
So that's
like,
it, rainbow after a
Yes,
so rainbow
like there's
after a
always
storm.
a rainbow after the storm. So
awesome.
always, even if it
Hope.
seems super bad,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be great after.
I love it. You know, obviously I'm a God guy, and we talk about it a lot. It's kind of interesting. Every good movie and every good story has a happy ending, right? But every good movie and every good story has what?
Trials and tribulations.
Trials and tribulations.
Adversity.
So if you think about it, did that come from the devil? Is that just something humans invented? Or is that just part of how God made the world and the universe? And so we're supposed to have struggles to have happy endings. So
Yeah, you can't
it's
appreciate those happy
something
endings
that's
if you didn't
beautiful
have a
about that.
struggle, right? How
Yeah.
would you know that it was happy?
Yeah, so there's something beautiful about even watching movies and songs and lyrics and poems and rainbows
Yeah.
for God saying, hey, I'm going to make you struggle, but you know, whatever that. And a lot of times I think the happy ending is just in heaven. I don't think we're always we always the happy ending. I think so many people think the happy ending is in our lifetime. I don't think that's unfortunately for a lot of us praying for that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's reality. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So I love it, Jodi. Thank you.
Yeah, good one. Dan, you're up.
All right. So mine is pretty simple. It's going to be a black and white billboard. Simple verbiage, words. And it's going to say, don't quit your daydream.
I have a coffee mug with that message on it.
So
Actually,
explain that. Take that further. You seem like
Yeah.
a deep guy.
So don't quit your. So I am very passionate about music, for instance, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in
Oh, do
high
you
school,
play?
I play guitar, I play keyboards, I do
Wow.
everything.
Okay,
right?
wonderful.
He
So
collects records too.
I
That's
collect.
very
I have
cool.
records in my backpack behind me.
Some vinyls, yeah, I love
that.
Absolutely. So for me, I'm very passionate about music, right? And there was a period of time where I was in college and I was learning music and had a couple of bands I played in, and I would go to sleep with this guitar and I'd wake up with this guitar, and it was.
I used to
me
sleep with a
everywhere.
basketball.
Exactly. So you
For real.
understand.
I
You
really
understand the
did.
passion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so this thing was inseparable for me. And then I got a job.
Yeah.
And when I got the job, I stopped sleeping with my guitar. Right? It stopped coming to bed with me, and I started working later, and the laptop came to
And then
bed
I
with
found
me.
a girlfriend, and it was
And then I
super
found,
weird.
yeah,
you know,
well,
got
things
weird.
like that, right? But the fact
No,
of the
guitar
matter
days.
is, the thing that brings me back to the grounding, the reality,
Yeah.
the rainbows of the world, is being able to pick up that guitar, play it, or put on that record and listen to it, or go to a concert and experience that camaraderie that occurs
Yeah.
when you're talking about bands like the
Yeah.
Beatles or
Yes.
Pearl Jam or these institutions, right, that have created this this environment, right, this community that you can only really experience in those situations. And one thing that I think happens is we get caught up in the minutia. So this kind of ties into your thing about breathe, right? We get caught up in the minutia of life to the point where we forget what we actually wanted to do with this life.
100%.
And that's
What's
why I say
the
don't
John
quit
Lennon quote? I get too busy living and.
Oh.
It's such a good quote.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta Google it.
I
guess.
Google it.
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah. That was
Right.
so get busy living.
Here, I'm
with
looking
kids
it
are
on my
dying.
phone.
Yeah, see, Jules, see if you win the Google battle here.
There we go.
So we might get to it before I do.
Yeah, so I actually have that on a, there's an artist named Banksy, I believe he's European, and he does a bunch of street type of graffiti, but very meaningful artwork at times. And he had a piece that had,
I got it.
Oh.
it just says Daydreams on it. It just
Yeah.
says Daydreams,
Yeah.
and then there's a big banner across it that says canceled, right? And that whole message
just
about
killed you.
don't cancel your daydreams.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen to you. So that to
Which is
me
passions, hobbies, how God
Yes,
made you.
yeah.
Exactly.
Don't give up on the childhood.
Yeah.
Don't give up on your youth, right?
Don't forget who you wanted to be,
And don't
right?
quit being a child, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to grow up.
Exactly.
Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans.
There we
That's
go.
so
Yes.
good.
Exactly.
So good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, we could end on that, or did you have one to share, Joel?
God bless, peace.
God bless, peace.
Here we
Thank you
go.
guys so much for being
Thank you.
here.
It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
129?
129.
129. Oh,
All right.
Yeah, we out.
one of my favorites.